This question: who the hell is Angel Reese? If Angel Reese doesn't wave her hand in her face like this, mocking Caitlin Clark and what Caitlin Clark did to competition in the NCAAs a couple of years ago, when LSU ultimately ended up winning the national title. That's what made Angel Reese a household name.
Alright guys, just when the WNBA conversation around Caitlin Clark couldn't get any louder, things have taken a sharp turn as Angel Reese appears to be stepping into a far more assertive and calculated role, instantly pushing the narrative into overdrive. What we're seeing now isn't just surface-level rivalry talk or media-driven hype, it feels like something deeper, something more strategic beginning to unfold. Fans are starting to question whether this is the early stage of a real power shift in the league or simply another storyline gaining momentum without consistent proof on the court. The tension is rising, the spotlight is getting hotter, and expectations are climbing fast, but at the end of the day, none of it will matter unless it translates into performance when the game is actually being decided. Because when the noise fades and the ball is in play, only one thing truly counts: who shows up, takes control, and delivers when it matters most.
Paige Beckers or Caitlin Clark would get traded for 2 first-round picks coming up in their second or third season in the WNBA? No. Absolutely not. There's a reason why that Beckers and Clark have set records that she has. And people telling me out there that rebounds are that important, well, clearly they're not that important because they didn't translate to wins for the Chicago Sky last year. Reese doesn't even compare to those 2 players. She's not a franchise player that you build around. You don't trade a superstar player in a case like that. She's not a superstar player.
And I've been saying that for the longest, like, people gotta stop.
Alright guys, some rivalries are designed for the spotlight, some grow through endless fan debates, and then there are the ones that feel like they're fueled by pure chaos, constantly pulling the game back into the fire. Just when it seems like things are finally cooling down between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, another moment explodes out of nowhere and drags everything right back into the center of controversy. The calm never lasts, the conversations reignite instantly, and suddenly the entire basketball world is locked into another wave of arguments, debates, and hot takes. It's almost like peace was never part of the equation to begin with, and every chapter just adds more fuel to a rivalry that refuses to settle.
Her game backs it up, but it ain't like it's 2 shooting guards going against one another, 2 point guards going one against one another, or 2 centers or forwards going up head to head at similar positions against one another. No, Caitlin Clark's a guard. She's the Steph Curry of women's basketball as far as I'm concerned. And Angel Reese is a forward. But the reason why it's a rival is not because of basketball. It's because Angel Reese is willing to chirp and talk that trash and then go on the court and back it up. And you know what it's got us doing? Watching Angel Reese.
And right at the heart of all this noise sits a storyline that simply refuses to stabilize, because one side keeps reshaping the narrative at a pace that feels almost unstoppable, almost like the version of events is being rewritten in real time, while the other side pushes back just as hard, insisting that the supposed gap between perception and reality is being overstated. But the problem is, the game itself keeps leaving receipts, numbers that don't lie, film that doesn't bend, and results that continue to add weight to one direction no matter how loudly the debate tries to pull it the other way. And so the tension stays locked in place, not because there's no answer, but because every new moment on the court keeps forcing everyone to question whether they're watching a rivalry, or watching one storyline slowly separate itself from the other under the pressure of actual performance.
If they're on the Olympic team right now, is going to be more of a distraction going into the WNBA season, and people are going to ask about that. There's no way at least Caitlin Clark doesn't make this team. It's just not going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then I just stand corrected. But we're worrying about what they're announcing the Olympic team in 2026, March, even though you do have to start getting this together and prepping it a couple years early, but you're going to sit here and tell me that 1, 2, 3 NBA seasons, WNBA seasons are going to go by?
It starts, as it so often does, with a headline that feels less like basketball analysis and more like digital gasoline thrown onto an already burning debate, an attention-grabbing claim positioning Angel Reese as aiming to surpass Caitlin Clark, a rookie who hasn't just entered the league but has immediately shifted its entire spotlight and narrative gravity. From the moment she stepped in, the attention around her hasn't just followed, it's recentered, almost as if the league's emotional and media compass recalibrated in real time. And yet, what makes this moment so volatile isn't just the comparison itself, but the speed at which perception, expectation, and reaction collide before the on-court reality even gets a chance to settle.
This is no longer a team that's rebuilding. When you have Caitlin Clark, this is a spotlight franchise. Expectations change, the opportunity changed, the urgency changed. And when the moment changes, alignment has to change with it. So Coach Stephanie White, this moment requires full commitment. You have a generational player on your hands. And that requires a system that fully leans into her strengths, not one that tries to balance them.
The reaction to that kind of bold narrative quickly stops feeling like normal sports discussion and starts resembling something closer to a cultural argument wearing a basketball jersey, where a simple comparison expands into a full-scale identity debate and fans begin choosing sides as if the outcome exists online rather than on the court. On one side sits Caitlin Clark, a player whose influence goes beyond box scores because every possession carries anticipation, the sense that something decisive or unforgettable might unfold at any moment, turning routine defense into constant reaction. Her game builds pressure not just through production, but through gravity, reshaping how teams approach every second she's on the floor. On the other side is Angel Reese, a competitor defined by presence, confidence, and an emotional intensity that makes every rebound, run, and reaction feel amplified, like the game itself expands around her energy. But confidence, in this environment, becomes a fragile currency when it gets converted too quickly into predictions, especially when the comparison isn't between two fully established career arcs, but between a player still defining her professional trajectory and another already reshaping the league's attention structure in real time.
Without being a superstar player, because I do think Angel Reese is a superstar when it comes to the name, for sure, without a doubt. But it is levels to this thing. Like, there is a A level, there is a B level, there is a C level. And sometimes people's names elevate them into talking points with other players, but they should never be in the same sentence. Never. That's like if I was trying to compare or trying to put Alana Smith in the same sentence as Angel Whistle.
While one storyline leans heavily on projection, expectation, and what might come next, the other is already stacking real-time evidence, performance after performance that doesn't need framing because it speaks for itself the moment it happens. That contrast is exactly what gives this rivalry its almost theatrical tension. On one side, Angel Reese enters the professional stage carrying the weight of massive scrutiny after her rise with LSU Tigers women's basketball, where she built her identity on physical dominance, relentless rebounding, and a competitive fire that never faded under pressure. That persona peaked on the biggest stage during the NCAA Women's Basketball Champions.
There's no way on any type of earth that you think that Angel Reese is a better basketball than Caitlin Clark. I want to put that out there right now. I don't know why.
Thank you. I'm glad you're getting out of it, but that'd be my problem on Twitter and threads and stuff.
That's what we're telling you, bro. That's what we're telling you.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just making sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, I'm glad. As long as everybody know that Caitlin Clark is a better basketball player.
Said that several times. It's not close.
No, but here's my thing. While I agree with you, I think that clouds the conversation.
It was next Viochi. It was bold, emotional, and unforgettable, but like most defining sports moments, it quickly split into competing interpretations depending on who was watching. Some saw it as pure competitive fire and confidence under pressure, while others framed it as the early ignition point of a rivalry that had already started forming before either player reached the professional level. That difference in perception is exactly what keeps the discussion alive long after the final whistle. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues to separate herself through consistent on-court control rather than isolated moments, turning games into structured offensive displays where scoring bursts feel intentional instead of random. Her style blends rhythm, range, and rapid decision-making in a way that constantly forces defenses into uncomfortable rotations, especially when she balances scoring pressure with playmaking responsibilities for teammates. Every possession becomes a test of how long a defense can stay organized against constant probing and shifting angles. As both narratives transitioned into the WNBA, the contrast didn't disappear. It became sharper under professional conditions where adjustment speed matters as much as reputation. At this level, previous achievements don't protect anyone from the league's pace, physicality, or tactical demands. For Clark, the scrutiny only intensified as every game added more data points to an already heavily analyzed profile, with her ability to create offense for others while still carrying a scoring load making her one of the most closely monitored rookies in the league. And with each performance, the conversation surrounding her impact has shifted further away from speculation and closer towards something that feels increasingly established, as the debate continues to evolve in real time rather than in theory. Next Viochi. While Angel Reese continues navigating the steep adjustment into the professional game, the convert.
I think that it's like comparing apples and oranges. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
at least
they don't play the same position.
They like doing the like Magic and the Bird comparison. Well, they played similar positions. Like Bird, he played the guard position. Like they at least kind of match up. This, like, what are we doing? I'm not falling into that. I'm not into the comparison. I think that there are a number of things that Angel can improve on, will improve on in the situation she's in. And I think Caitlin Clark has done that even in her first year in terms of, being able to be that floor general. Her and Aaliyah Boston's connection has really